Good morning, everyone. My name is PANUWAT JARASJANYAWAT from Thai Chinese International School, and today I'm going to be talking about my study on the relationship between sleep quality and different personality traits. So, on average, adolescents need around 8 to 10 hours of sleep. However, almost half of them don't get that amount. Research shows on adults that innate personality traits can actually affect how well you sleep by affecting like your thoughts and some of your innate behaviors, which can also all affect sleep. However, the problem is there is no research that has been done on adolescents, and since the prefrontal cortex is still developing, which is the part of their brain that controls emotional regulation, this means that the results from the studies in adults may not have the exact same results in adolescents, since this part of the brain affects personality traits too. So basically, most of the studies on adults, and in this study, use the Big 5-factor model of personality, which is a widely used model. It gauges personality based on 5 different things. Number 1 is extroversion, which is someone's energy and sociability. Number 2 is neuroticism, which is someone's stress and sensitivity to stress overall. Agreeableness is someone's compassion and kindness. Conscientiousness is someone's routine and organization, how much they like routine. And openness is someone's creativity and general openness to new experiences. This is my research question. Does overall sleep quality differ across different percentiles of different personality traits in adolescents aged 14 to 17? My hypotheses based off previous adult literature are that people in the higher percentiles of neuroticism will have worse sleep. People with high extroversion will have better sleep. People with high conscientiousness will have better sleep, and openness and agreeableness will not affect sleep. So I combined the International Pool of Personality, Big 5-factor model, which is a public domain source managed by the Oregon Research Institute, and the Pittsburgh Sleep Quality Index. And I combined these two into one survey and distributed to adolescents whom I knew and through online platforms. After this, I analyzed the scores and I made bar graphs for each trait. So it would look something like this. So for each individual trait, I would, since the Big 5-factor model test that I used, it didn't actually give the raw personality scores as like a precise numerical amount, but instead it gave it as a visual form. So this was a problem, and I had the participants sort of have to gauge it, because since it was in a bar graph form. However, this did increase subjectivity. So then I separated them into different percentiles instead. So from 0 to 25%, 25 to 50%, 50 to 75%, and 75 to 100%. Then I analyzed their sleep scores. The higher the sleep score, the worse the sleep. So then I set them into bar graphs like this for every personality trait and ran a one-way analysis of variance to see if there was any statistically significant difference in between each percentile for every personality trait. And for the ones that did have a statistically significant difference, I ran a 2-keys HSD post hoc test to see which ones differed in particular. So out of 70 participants, the only significant finding was that neuroticism with a p-value of 0.026. The higher percentiles of neuroticism had higher sleep scores, which meant that they had worse sleep. So and from the 2-keys HSD post hoc test, we found that the only statistically significant difference was between the 25 to 50 and 50 to 75 percentile. This meant that after it crossed a certain threshold, the scores changed significantly, enough to detect statistical significance. However, there are some limitations to this, such as having to estimate the personality from the graph and uneven group distributions. So that just means that not an even amount of people are distributed into every percentile. Convenient sampling is just that the people who participated in this may not be representative of the entire adolescent population as a whole. And the applications are that it is preliminary data right now, but if more research is to be done on this in adolescents, then if it is actually a valid way to identify adolescents at risk, then it could be used as a method of finding out which adolescents in particular are at risk and helping provide early interventions in order to prevent them from having sleep issues in the future. So, in conclusion, we found that neuroticism was the only significant factor, and results that were different from adults. And future research should use actual scores instead of estimates or a different quiz, and have a larger sample size and also control for other confounding factors like BMI and socioeconomic status. These are my references. Thank you.
Okay. In this study, you examined whether some personality trait affects sleep quality and duration of sleep. And in conclusion, the conclusion you drew from this study is that neuroticism affects sleep. But wouldn't it be possible, like in reverse, sleep quality affect personal trait?
Yes, this is actually something that has been studied before, but maybe it's some of these personality traits that drive the sleep quality first and make them have bad sleep quality, which in turn also makes the personality worse or have like different mood changes, which also makes the sleep worse. So it's like a bi-directional relationship.
Okay.
네, 다른 질문이 네.
For your analysis, so neuroticism affect the sleep. So can you tell us about some controlled variables?
So the main control variables are just that it's just their age from 14 to 17.
I mean, for example, like other factors that can affect the sleep. For example, students, I mean, the adolescents are mostly students, that they may feel some academic stress, for example, like academic stress. So what other controlled variables did you use to get your conclusion?
That was like there was not many controlled variables, since I was just trying to find the relationship strictly between personality traits and sleep, and that's what I said in the future research, that they should like identify other like confounding factors like socioeconomic status and BMI, all of which have also been connected to sleep in the past.